The next Trump betrayal. Who will turn against him? Is Donald Trump already facing betrayal from within? Just 2 months into his second term, cracks are showing. And history tells us betrayal isn't a matter of if, but who and when. Today on Left, Right, and Center, we break down the coming fractures in Trump's inner circle. Who's likely to turn, why, and what it means for 2025. Welcome to Left, Right, and Center, your no-bias, no-filter take on politics. In a world of loud opinions, we're here to cut through the noise. From White House power plays to global shakeups, we break it down with historical context, real-world examples, and sharp analysis. No agenda, no spin, just the hard questions. Subscribe now and join us, because the truth, it's never one-sided. 1. The pressure cooker of Term 2. Donald Trump strode back into the White House on January 20, 2025 with a victory lap louder than ever. His second term, a mandate from a restless base, and a Republican Party reshaped in his image. The Red Hats were everywhere chanting 4 more years, but 2 months later, the air's already thick with tension. This isn't 2017's chaotic rookie season. Trump's got a slimmer Senate majority, just 52-48 after a brutal 2024 cycle, and a MAGA faction that's hungrier, angrier, and less patient than ever. He's promised the moon. Border walls finished, tax cuts deeper than Reagan's, an America First reset to make the world blink. But 2025's a pressure cooker, and the heat's exposing 3 fault lines that could crack his coalition wide open. Flashpoint 1, the Musk factor. Elon Musk isn't just a billionaire cheerleader anymore. He's a power player, a self-styled shadow advisor, whispering in Trump's ear from Mar-a-Lago dinners to late-night X spaces. He's pushing a deregulation blitz / tech restrictions, gut green energy mandates, let Tesla and SpaceX run wild. It's a futuristic gamble that's got the base buzzing, but it's rattling the GOP's old guard. Big Oil's fuming. Texas tycoons who bankrolled Trump's comeback don't like Musk's electric empire stealing their spotlight. Wall Street's jittery too. Markets dipped 3% last week when Musk floated killing a fossil fuel subsidy. Enter Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, a Wall Street titan with a Rolodex deeper than the Potomac. He's been Trump's mudging X posts about Musk's latest brainstorms. If Trump picks Musk's vision over the suits and a market wobble turns into a crash, Lutnick might not just grumble. He could bolt, citing economic stability while his banker buddies cheer. Flashpoint 2, the RFK Jr. Then there's Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Trump's Health and Human Services pick. A curveball that thrilled the anti-vax crowd but left jaws on the floor. RFK's hit the ground running, vowing to dismantle Big Pharma's cartel and audit every vaccine on the market. At a rally in Ohio last month, he waved a stack of papers he claimed were suppressed studies, promising a health revolution. MAGA loves it. RFK Truth spiked on X. But it's a slow-mushing car wreck for suburban Republicans. Moms in swing districts like Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, are clutching their kids' shot records, not cheering. Senate Majority Leader John Thune's the canary in this coal mine. He's a South Dakota pragmatist who barely mentions Trump in speeches anymore. Sources say he's fielding calls from GOP governors begging to rein RFK in before 2026 midterms turn red states purple. If RFK's crusade tanks approval ratings or sparks a measles outbreak, Thune could orchestrate a Senate pushback, framing it as protecting the party, not protecting the party. Flashpoint 3, Foreign Policy Fault Lines. Overseas, Trump's rewriting the playbook again. He's floating a NATO pullback, calling it a money pit, and cozying up to strongmen like Hungary's Viktor Orban, who jetted to Palm Beach last week for a photo op. It's vintage America First, but it's clashing with the GOP's hawkish wing. Secretary of State Richard Grenell's a Trump diehard, pushed hard for his 2024 win, but he's got a taste for flexing muscle. Not retreating, he's pitched airstrikes on Iran twice already per leaks, only to get shut down by Trump's "no more wars" mantra. Meanwhile, Trump's eyeing a Putin summit, dangling a Ukraine deal that'd make MAGA cheer but NATO quake. Grenell's not built for handshakes with Moscow, his X-feed still blasting commie threats. If Trump sidelines him for a dovish stunt or picks Orban over allies, Grenell's got the charisma and Fox News slots to turn dissent into a megaphone. Loyalty's his brand, but pride's his fuel. These aren't just policy fights, they're loyalty tests. Trump's juggling a base that wants miracles, a party that wants wins, and allies who want power. One wrong move and the cooker blows. 2. The new players in the game. Forget the ghosts of Trump's past, Pence, Bolton, the old establishment crew. They're yesterday's news. The next betrayal's brewing among the new blood, the 2025 roster Trump's betting his legacy on. These aren't just loyal foot soldiers. They're calculating players with their own agendas, ambitions, and breaking points. Let's zoom in on 3 rising stars who could turn the knife and why they might do it. Suspect 1, Susie Wiles, the strategist. Meet Susie Wiles, Trump's campaign whisperer turned senior advisor. She's the brains behind his 2024 comeback, a Florida political veteran who knows how to win without breaking a sweat. Picture her, cool-headed, steely-eyed, the kind of operator who thrives in chaos. She's not a MAGA ideologue, she's a pragmatist, a hired gun who turned Trump's raw energy into electoral gold. Her fingerprints are all over his second term, the messaging, the optics, the deal-making. Trump calls her the Ice Maiden for a reason. She doesn't flinch. But here's the rub. Wiles isn't tethered to Trump's cult of personality. Her loyalty's transactional, built on results. 2 months into 2025, she's steering a ship, facing headwinds, a stalled border security push, grumbling donors, a restless base. If Trump's agenda bogs down, say, Congress kills a key bill or the economy stumbles, Wiles won't hesitate to recalibrate. She's got a kingmaker's resume, why tie it to a sinking star? She could slip out quietly, maybe leak a memo blaming Trump's impulsiveness, positioning herself as the GOP's next savior for 2028. Watch her silence. It's louder than most people's noise. Suspect 2, Tulsi Gabbard, the maverick. Then there's Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's wildcard pick for defense secretary. She's a former Democratic congresswoman who torched her old party, surfed into MAGA's arms, and now commands the Pentagon with a steely gaze and a populist streak. She's a walking contradiction, ex-military, anti-war, a Hawaii surfer with a soldier's edge. Trump loves her outsider cred. She's rallied his base with fiery takedowns of the deep state and promises to gut Pentagon bloat. But Gabbard's no blind loyalist. She's got a moral compass, or at least a brand that doesn't bend easily. In 2025, Trump's testing her limits. He's flirting with isolationism, slashing NATO funds, cozying up to strongmen, while hawks in his orbit push for saber-rattling with Iran or China. Gabbard's dovish instincts, honed from her Iraq war days, could clash hard. Imagine this. Trump orders a military show of force she deems reckless, say a carrier group off Taiwan. She'd face a choice, salute or speak out. Gabbard's got a loyal ex-following and a taste for defiance. She could resign in a blaze, pen a viral op-ed, and call Trump a betrayer of America First principles. She's not here to be a pawn. She's playing her own game. Suspect 3, Vivek Ramaswamy, the wild card. Finally, Vivek Ramaswamy, the biotech millionaire turned MAGA prodigy. He's rumored for a trade or economic role, maybe U.S. trade representative, and he's already a rock star in Trump's orbit. At 39, he's brash, telegenic, and floods X with memes and manifestos that make Steve Bannon look tame. He ran for president in 2024, bowed out, and hitched his wagon to Trump. Think of him as the heir apparent who's too impatient to wait. Vivek's all in on deregulation, tax cuts, and draining the swamp. But his free market gospel's purer than Trump's pragma populism. If Trump pivots, say, slaps tariffs on allies or bails out a failing industry, Vivek could cry foul. He's already got 2028 buzz. Why waste it on a faltering idol? Picture him breaking ranks with a slick video drop. Trump's lost the plot. MAGA needs a reboot. His ex-posts lately. Cryptic jabs at old guard thinking. Hints he's testing the waters. Ramaswamy's not just a loyalist. He's a disruptor who'd rather burn the house down and rebuild it himself. If Trump's approval slips below 40%, Vivek's the guy who'll jump first, branding himself the next evolution of the movement. These three aren't just riding Trump's coattails, they're plotting their own paths. Wiles plays chess, Gabbard wields conviction, and Ramaswamy craves the spotlight. Each has a breaking point and a parachute. The question is, who blinks first? 3. The trigger moment. So, what's the spark that lights the fuse? In politics, betrayal isn't born from ideology, it's forged in the crucible of survival. 2 months into Trump's second term, the pressure's building, and the fault lines are clearer than ever. Here at left, right, and center, we're not just recapping, we're looking ahead. Let's break down 3 explosive scenarios that could trigger the next Trump betrayal in 2025, and who might jump ship when the heat turns up. Scenario 1. Legal quicksand swallows the agenda. Trump's no stranger to courtroom battles, classified documents, election interference, hush money cases. They've trailed him like shadows. In February 2025, those shadows are darkening. Imagine this. The Supreme Court rules against him on presidential immunity, greenlighting a revived prosecution. Or a New York appeals court upholds a hefty fine that dents his image as an untouchable winner. The headlines scream chaos, and his base fumes. But the real action's behind closed doors. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, a Wall Street titan, might see the writing on the wall, legal turmoil tanking markets, donors spooked. He could step back, issuing a vague statement about party unity, while quietly dialing up his CEO buddies to hedge his bets. Or take Senate Majority Leader John Thune, already a Trump skeptic. A legal bombshell gives him cover to rally moderates, whispering, "We can't let this sink us in 26. The trigger? When the gavel drops, loyalty gets pricey. Scenario 2. Base backlash. A MAGA mutiny. Trump's power rests on his base, the red hat faithful who chant his name at rallies. But what if he blinks? Picture a border security bill hitting Congress, tough, but not the impenetrable wall he promised. Or a trade deal with China that smells too much like globalism, with tariffs softened to appease big business. X lights up with MAGA revolt. Influencers like Charlie Kirk or Jack Posobiec call it a sellout and the base turns feral. That's when the loyalists face a reckoning. Stephen Miller, Trump's policy pitbull, might double down, raging on air to defend the move. But if the backlash grows, could he bail to protect his hardline cred? Lara Trump, RNC co-chair and family torchbearer, faces an uglier bind: stick with dad or dodge the mob's pitchforks. The trigger here isn't Trump, it's the beast he built. If the base smells betrayal first, his inner circle's forced to pick sides. Scenario 3. The 2028 hustle heats up. The clock's always ticking in D.C., and 2028's the real prize. Trump's approval numbers in February 2025 hover around 45%, solid but shaky for a second term. Now imagine they dip below 40%. Maybe an economic stutter, a botched RFK Jr. health rollout, or a Ukraine crisis exposing his isolationism. That's blood in the water for the ambitious. Defense Secretary Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democrat with crossover appeal, could see her moment, breaking ranks over a hawkish Trump move like saber-rattling with Iran that clashes with her anti-war roots. She's got the X following and the grit to frame it as principle, not betrayal. Vivek Ramaswamy, the MAGA prodigy, might play it slicker, easing away with op-eds about fixing Trump's vision, positioning himself as the heir apparent. Even Ron DeSantis, biding his time in Florida, could start flexing, rallying governors against a faltering White House. The trigger, ambition doesn't wait. When Trump star dims, the knives come out, quiet and sharp. The wild card, an external shock. Here's the curveball. Something none of them see coming. A cyber attack blamed on Russia, a stock market plunge tied to Musk's gambles, or a natural disaster botched by FEMA under Trump's watch. Chaos exposes cracks fast. If Grinnell pushes a hawkish response Trump rejects, or Wiles can't spin the PR mess, the exit ramps light up. In a crisis, loyalty's the first casualty. These aren't hypotheticals, they're pressure points, simmering now. The next betrayal could be weeks away or months, but it's coming. Trump's fortress looks strong, but every wall's got a weak spot. And someone's already eyeing the door. The clock's ticking. Trump survived betrayals before, but 2025 feels different. The stakes are higher, the allies are newer, and the clock's ticking louder. Will it be a quiet exit or a public showdown? One thing's clear in politics, loyalty is just a lease, and it's always up for renewal. Thanks for watching Left, Right, and Center. Hit like if you're hooked, subscribe for more, and let's keep this debate rolling. Who's your pick for the next turncoat?